Okay, it says we're live, so we're going to check and see how the audio is. Uh, IT guy says we're good, but it also looks like, unless something's weird here, it looks as though my head might be being cut off. I'm not sure about that. Okay, all right, so that's just how the thing looks on Studio for me. Anyway, so today we're making chicken gnocchi soup and pizza potatoes, with apologies to everyone who might be actually Italian. I know these aren't actual things that you get in Italy. They are Italian inspired. The soup is a Copycat from Olive Garden, and I know there are many, many Italians who have tried Olive Garden and said it is not authentic. So to you all, hey Joan, to you all who know authentic Italian, I'm well aware this is not authentic. It is Italian inspired. That's what I'm going to call it. So we're going to start off with a mirepoix or a sofrito, depending on what you want to call it, which is the good old carrot, celery, and onions. Everybody chops these differently. For some reason, I always do the carrots and celery before the onion, so it's just not sitting there. So, hey, Christy, welcome in. So today, and since I know you're Italian, I did make a disclaimer that I know that what I'm about to make is not Italian. I'm calling it Italian inspired. So, I don't want to get in trouble. But I make a lot of things that are German inspired that nobody I know that's German would eat. So there you go. But happy Soup-tember. Thank you, Christy. I missed that earlier. Yes, Soup-tember. We're starting off. And really, everything we're making this week, I just realized, is Italian inspired. Again, none of it is going to be exactly the way it's made in Italy, because you don't eat pasta and chicken together in Italy. And so a soup with gnocchi and chicken in it would not be something they would typically do. So, but for our purposes today, we're doing it. Seems kind of crazy that we're making the soup. I don't know how it is where you are, but right now we're in the 90s. It is brutal. It's not only is it in the 90s, but our heat index is like 104 today. So it's an ugly one out there. It's hot and it's humid, and it's going to be like that for the next couple of days. So with apologies to my family that I'm making them eat soup. Tomorrow we're having lasagna soup, and we'll at least have a salad. We're going to have a salad tomorrow with that, because it's funny because people are like, how are you buying lettuce? If you know where your lettuce comes from, and it's not coming from out of the country, that's not a problem, because I know they have increased the cyclospora as yeah. Exactly. We are a melting pot in this country, so guess what? We're gonna have melting pot kind of food where what was I watching the one day? There's a woman, the Korean, I think she's called the Korean Mom. She and her son do videos, and they are so cute. And it's amazing how much stuff, like, especially if they get takeout, like his mom just puts kimchi on everything. And it's hilarious, because that's what Koreans do. They put kimchi on everything. There's another woman who cooks for her parents, and she'll cook all different things for them. And it's very often, even if they really like it, they just go get kimchi and put it on there. It's just something, people do. I've had friends from other countries that are like, why do Americans put cheese on everything? I'm like, because cheese is good. They just laugh at me. So, also, once they come here, they realize why so many of us are overweight because our food is so easy it's very rich and very often very heavy and comforting, very comforting, but you pay a price for that sometimes. So I'm going to do just maybe one more carrot. I think that would be enough. So, congratulations, Evelyn. I'm glad you got through that okay, because that is it's so nice to be able to see, isn't it? I had one. For those who weren't here for that conversation, we talked about I not only had a cataract, what I had one young, and I was given the opportunity. I used to wear glasses, and I was given the opportunity to have lenses put in my eyes that would correct my vision. And they tell me eventually I'll need readers, but that I'm not to that point yet. So, and I think I had my surgery. It was during the pandemic, and I want to say it was 4 years ago. Next month or this month, and I can't explain to you because I've had glasses since I was 7. They knew I would need glasses when I was 4. My parents didn't know how bad my eyes had gotten until they took me to the eye doctor. And when I got my first pair of glasses, I honestly did not know that from a distance that you could see individual bricks in a building or individual leaves on a tree. I honestly thought that trees looked like a lollipop. You know how little kids draw those lollipop trees? Well, I thought that's what trees actually look like. I didn't know you could see individual blades of grass. And so I got a whole new world when I got glasses of things that I could see. It was really wild. So yeah. But Evelyn, I am so glad. And the cool part about it, that was one of the things we talked about because for most eye surgeries, you have to be awake. And that is a scary thing when somebody's messing with your eye. But the cool thing is they have this stuff that'll numb your eyes. So it doesn't matter what, you can't even feel it. So, which is funny because when I got it done the second time, I knew that it was supposed to feel like that. And my eye wasn't completely numb. And so I said to the nurse, I was like, she was touching my eye. And I said, am I supposed to be able to feel that? And she goes, no. And she goes, can you? I said, yes, ma'am. And I said, it doesn't hurt, but I can feel it. And she's like, oh no, we don't want you to even feel it. So, who said we're all weird? Yeah, Joan, we certainly are. But nothing wrong with weird. Hey, who wants to be boring, right? So anyway, get that little piece off of there. Don't need that. Okay. Almost done making the mirepoix. Yay. And then we'll get to cooking. Speaking of which, I actually do have something already cooking. And that is, I've got potatoes cooking on the stove. So they have to go for a while. And I want to make sure they get nice and soft. So hopefully by the time we want them, they will be ready. After we get the soup mostly assembled. So anyway, and it's funny because right after I got my surgery done is when they came out with all these kind of, I don't know if you've seen them, but I used to get all kinds of ads for them. I was like, where was this when I wore glasses? But it was the glasses that are magnetic and you could get different frames for them. And you could change your frames based on your mood. And I was like, I would have loved to have had those for the last 50 years or however long it had been. So anyway, I lost my first pair of glasses. They ended up in the incinerator at school. Not on purpose. I took them off at lunchtime and I forgot and left them on my tray. That should have been our first indication of ADHD. And when I went back, the garbage had already been sent to the incinerator. And I was beside myself. And we had this... Hi, Ruby! Staying cool. Very grateful today for air conditioning. I got to tell you that. I've been outside a couple of times, and I was like, ugh, it is not fun out here. So I went out to water my garden because I didn't want it to die. So I've been watering in the mornings to make sure that they're all taken care of. But I went out this afternoon because I needed some time. So I was like, oh, this is awful. My poor dogs, they want to be outside, and they're outside for like 5 minutes, and both dogs are black. And they come back in, and it's like, do it. So yesterday was a good day. So I love that people were watching. It was wonderful, and the engagement was great. We got some new subscribers, which last week was terrible. So apparently they changed the algorithm again, so people are getting a few more views than they were. So I'm wondering if people were really mad and getting very discouraged and letting them have it. So I know there are a lot of people I follow who tell you how to do well on YouTube were lamenting what was going on because it just wasn't good. So I wasn't the only one that was struggling last week. That I do know. But for those who are subscribers, there is a new poll up for next week, and we will decide on Wednesday, based on your polling, what we'll be cooking next week. So that'll be fun. And I'm going to do more stuff on the community page. It's just going to take me a little bit to get used to starting to post there. And I might try to start moving away from other platforms because I'm not getting any traction there either. So, I would imagine, because it just was brutal. And yes, I'm using regular butter today because I don't want to go get the other stuff out of the fridge. So I need a couple tablespoons of that. And then a little bit of olive oil just to make sure it doesn't scorch. I'm going to leave it on the highest temp just for a second while I put everything away so it heats up a little faster. This pan will heat up faster, but yesterday I was using this pan or this pot to make this chicken stock. So I'm excited because I have homemade chicken stock. I tasted it. It's amazing. So yeah, even when I went out, it was like, I don't know, between 10 and 11 this morning. It was just so hot. And as they say in these here parts, it ain't the heat, it's the humidity. Because you walk out and you feel like you can't breathe. So what's funny is I actually call this weather, this is called living in soup weather for me. So there you go. So not only are we cooking in it, we're living in it. All right, it's starting to melt. Today, IT guy and I started working on our next video. Any guesses what our next video is going to be about? One of my favorite ingredients. Get that butter melted. And then we'll be ready to rock and roll. Good night, Evelyn. I'm so glad your surgery went well. Okay. Yep. Okay. I'm going to turn that down a little so it doesn't like go crazy. Potatoes are getting hot over there, so that's good. Alrighty, and then we're going to toss in our carrots and celery. And while that starts on its little sauteing journey, we will work on some garlic. I need, let's see, 3 cloves or 2, is it? It is 3 cloves. That's what I thought. All right, so we're going to grab 3 cloves of garlic. That one's cut in half. That one is not. Oh, yeah, it is. So we'll use that one. It's not really 4. It's 2 halves. Good. I'm glad I'm making it hard for you because I'm excited though. It's fun. It's fun to have your input. So I love having the input. So everybody kind of feels like they get to be a part of it. Yesterday's meal was, and I told her, was partly inspired by Joan because she had never had porcupine meatballs. So I was like, well, let's just make those. My husband was delighted. That's one of his favorite meals. I didn't think about it. My sister-in-law was over here if she would have wanted some, but she lives alone now, so it's one of those you don't necessarily make a meal like that for yourself necessarily, unless you're somebody who likes to freeze stuff. And I don't think she is. So mincing up the garlic. So back to the video that's upcoming, we're going to do a bunch of stuff with garlic. I don't think I know a single cuisine that doesn't use garlic. If there's a universal ingredient, garlic could be it. So, hey, P-Mart. Going good. We're making chicken gnocchi soup and smashed potato pizzas. All right, let's get this. A little bit of garlic in there, maybe a lot of garlic. I never thought you could do too much garlic, but I found out once that you could. It was all I could taste. So, hey, Mama Bear, where'd you sneak in? What's that? Oh, I missed it. It was about the husband. What was that? Somebody, I can't get that back on chat. Somebody refresh and let me know what's going on. Somebody's husband in the hospital? Oh, well, welcome back, Ruby. Oh, sticky. So you're gonna scroll back up for me so I can read that? IT guy, he's the best, man. So oh no, Mama Bear, that stinks. Oh, terrible. No, like nuts or anything? That stinks. Oh, bummer. Okay, got my potatoes on. I've chopped my onions and celery. Got all that stuff in there. It's got to go about 5 minutes. We've minced our garlic. Yay us. Okay. What we doing here, guys? Awesome. Getting softer. Hooray! Potatoes are cooking up. I'm going to turn them up just a little bit. Agreed, Christy. Garlic and onions. Gotta love them. Now, IT guy actually dated a girl, and I heard somebody else say this, that they are allergic to alliums. So all onions and all garlic. And I'm like, my God, how do you eat? That would be, oh. I never met the girl that he was dating that was like that. I was like, I'll try to cook for her. But wow, I can't imagine not using either one of those in everything I cook. So, and I know who it is. A friend of mine, her daughter's getting married, and her future son-in-law. That's 6 cups of homemade stock. Yes, we got a rotisserie chicken earlier this week, and sometimes when you do the broth from a rotisserie chicken, it tastes like dishwater. No lie. Sometimes it comes out spectacular. This week it was spectacular. So, oh no, goodness gracious! I hope it is nothing's too serious, Mama Bear. That does not sound like fun. Oh, the cardiologist is never fun, is it? All right, so we poured in our chicken broth, and then we're gonna add our own garden stuff. Yay! I love when I can do that, and I love being able to just walk out there and snip it myself, because I would buy them and I would throw away over half of it, and I hated that. So now we want to bring this to a boil, so I am going to cover that. Okay, I'm going to go turn my potatoes up a little bit. I'm going to go check them and see if they've gotten soft yet. Yeah, Mama Bear, whatever you need. So P-Mart. Yeah, when they broke up, his older IT guy's older brother was like, "You have no idea, Mom." And I'm like, okay. So I hear he got lucky. All right, so we need about 5 to 10 more minutes on these potatoes. We're doing pretty well on those. I'll let those go. And while all that's doing its thing, we're going to cut up the chicken. So well, that hospital is no place to be, and overnight it's just brutal. So, have you not eaten since yesterday then? Girl, you need some food. I hope you had something delivered for yourself. Hey, I find smaller families tend to be pretty fierce, and that's pretty awesome. So, we need a couple of cups of chicken. So, we're going to chop, chop, chop. Not going to take as long to do this one, so I used to love that phrase, she is small but fierce, because believe it or not, I didn't grow to my junior year of high school. So when I was in high school, or no, it was between my freshman and my sophomore year. My freshman year of high school, I hit 5 feet tall. And by the time I hit my junior year, so between the end of my freshman year and the beginning of my junior year, which was about a year and 3 months, I grew 4 inches. So I went from being under 5 foot to 5'4", and by the time I graduated from high school, I was closer to 5'7". So somewhere between 5'6.5" and 5'7" is where I think I still am. I don't know, but I hope to not be one of those women who shrinks. But oh, okay, yeah, I think you would feel that way. Yeah, that's rough. You would think of all places, a hospital would be somewhere that you could go and have what you need. Um, and there are a couple hospitals around here that are very good about it, and there's a couple that are not. So um, some of it you kind of understand. But I had a run in one time with a nurse. My husband, again, y'all know, type 1 diabetic. My mother had a brain aneurysm years ago, and she had surgery, and it was after midnight, and they wheeled her in, and we weren't sure what happened, but all of a sudden my husband went stiff and went straight over backwards, hit his head on one of those rolling tables, that they put so you can eat your lunch and stuff. Hit that, ended up on the floor. I thought he was having a seizure. And so they called the medics, and this, of course, was our, what do you want to call it? We call it University Hospital. It's, the general hospital that takes everyone, like all the indigent people, anybody who doesn't have health care, that kind of stuff. It was that. And they took him down to the emergency room, and it was a Friday night. It was a full moon. It was wild. That place was crazy. We got there at midnight, and like an hour later, nobody had even looked at him. And I went to talk to somebody because he's in a hallway. He wasn't even in a room. And they're like, it's going to be a while. And I was like, look, he didn't come down here for the gash in his head. He came down here because he's in low sugar and he's diabetic. And if I don't give him something to drink soon, he's going to die. So the lady's like, if I went out, I couldn't come back in because there were too many visitors back there, and I was already one of them. So they told me to go to the staff lounge to get him something to drink, and I got yelled at by another nurse. And I said, my husband's a type 1 diabetic, and he's in the hallway, and nobody's looked at him. And she's like, well, you don't belong in here. I was like, look, one of the other nurses told me to come in here. If you want to be responsible if my husband dies, well, you just shouldn't be in here. I was like, that fierce part, it comes out, doesn't it? All right, so why are you not bubbling yet? You should be boiling by now. Okay. The other thing is, so I'm not making the gnocchi, y'all. This stuff is great. If you're gluten free, this is so good, and it's lighter than you would expect. I never expected it to be as light as it was, being a gluten free product, because a lot of times when you make stuff with gluten free flour, it's just heavier. These are not. So I'm going to open these, but they're also expensive, which is why, I use them, but I don't make them a lot. So yeah, when it comes to my family, don't mess with my family or I'll mess with you. The only time my mom had a nurse when she was in the ICU, and at the time my mother smoked, and when you wake up from a brain aneurysm surgery, you tend to not be yourself, and she wasn't, except that she remembered that she smoked, and she looked at the nurse and she goes, can I have a cigarette if I want one? And the nurse goes, yeah, right. Boom. Because everybody was on oxygen. And I just kind of looked at the nurse and she goes, oh, they never remember us, so we can say whatever we want. Oh, she was great. I loved her. All right. My house, my rules. I get a snack. Anyway. So yeah, a couple days in, she had to get my mom up. And she's like, she's not going to like it. She's going to be mad. She's going to want to go back to bed. And she said, so I'm going to strip her bed and I won't come back for 30 minutes. And she's like, she'll complain the whole time I'm gone, but I'll be back. I'm like, okay. Man, she was right. Everything she said happened. So that was funny. But, yep, exactly. I will fight you. That happened with IT guy when he was like 4 or 5 years old. He was so good about his blood draws. He just needed a second. Like he needed to mentally prepare, and he'd take about 2 or 3 breaths, and then he was ready. And this nurse did not give him the chance to do that. And he's like, no, wait, no, wait. And she would not listen to him. I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute. And she's like, he'll be fine, he'll be fine. I'm like, let him go. And she would not let him go. And she got the blood, but he was so upset. And I walked out to that desk. When I walked out to the desk, I thank God they all knew me because we were there all the time, because he had to have a lot of blood tests and stuff. And I looked at the lady at the front desk. I said, that woman is to never touch my child again. And I said, and please have the doctor call me. And so I had the doctor call. Oh, 4 years old, and he would give you his arm if you would just wait. Oh, I was so mad. So mad. So anyway, potatoes are ready. Hooray. All right, we got to drain these puppies. Before that, when he was really little, there was a lady, a phlebotomist down there. Oh my goodness. She was the best. And if she was working, even if she was at lunch, we'd say, well, wait. And they're like, what? And they're like, she just went. So I won't be back for half an hour. I'm like, well, wait. And they couldn't believe it. But when he was 2 years old, she could take his blood and he didn't even whimper. So a good phlebotomist, woo, they are worth the money, people. They're worth every dime. I love those people. Okay, turn that down to a simmer. Let that do its thing. I can smell the thyme. It's really cool. And then I need this out of here. Okay. I think, yeah, we're done with this part. So I will put this stuff in the sink, get it out of the way. Okay, this is a new thing. I've never done this before, so I'm kind of excited about it. Hang on a second, guys. Yeah, I'm making a lot of noise, aren't I? Sorry about that. Okay, so I don't want to make a mess on my table. So I'm going to grab some of each. I'm going to grab some of the red, some of the white. I don't know. Will they all fit on there? Let's find out. I can take them off if I need them, right? If I need to. Let's just do that. That'll work. Start smashing. Hulk smash. Oh, I hate that. For the kids, I hate that because, some of these kids have been through so much, and when people don't listen to them, it just puts them in such a spot of terror. And I understand when they're super little, but listen to the parents. If you're not going to listen to the kid, at least listen to the parents. So, oh, these are perfect. Okay. Let's see how far we can go. You know what? I think I'm going to do, I just don't want to do them all because I want Mr. 513 to have hot ones. So I'm going to make a few different ones, but an IT guy and I probably won't eat all these, but I'll make them anyway. So just because I've never made them before, I want to make them. That one was hot, really hot. Ooh, that one just kind of mashed into a million pieces. All the rest of them did fine. Maybe it's because this has gotten hot and has potato on it. But now they're sticking. Okay. All right, so this is what it says to do with them. Smash them. I had an issue when IT guy was in the NICU too, because I asked a lot of questions. And some of the nurses got offended because they thought I was questioning them, not questioning what they were doing, but them as practitioners. And I actually had the head nurses when I was having my exit interview that said that some people thought I was hard to please. Like, wow, if you think I'm hard to please, you should meet my mother, because I'm nowhere near. My mom was yelling at me the whole time he was in the NICU. You need to bring him home. I'm like, the doctors say no. She's like, I don't care what the doctors say. I'm like, I do. So I was fighting it on both sides. But I also think there were some people who got pretty honked off because one night sorry IT guy, I'm telling stories on you. But he kept getting sick. And if you have a weak stomach, I apologize, but he would throw up bile. And every time he did, they would take him off his feeds, they'd put him back on IVs. And if you've ever been in the NICU, when babies have an IV in the NICU, it's in their head. It sucks. And it's terrible for the mom. And they put a little hat over it so that you don't see it, but you know it's there. And it was just heartbreaking. And so, IT guy, if you want pepperoni on yours, will you come get the pepperoni out of the refrigerator? I forgot to get it out. Otherwise, you're getting cheese and pizza sauce. But my husband was flipping through his chart one night, and it was a binder. Let's call it what it was. It wasn't just a chart. It was a binder. And so back right, I believe. I'm missing the Parmesan cheese. There it is, right in front of me. Good Lord. So, and bagels. Good. I'm glad I make you hungry. That's true. But anyway, back to the story. But he was reading, and all of a sudden, my husband goes, "You're not going to believe this." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Every time he gets a nurse he's never had before, that's when he gets sick." I was like, "What? That's ridiculous." So I'll do 4 of them with, just 2 of them with pepperoni? Okay, well, I'm going to do 4 because I'm going to try them with pepperoni too. All right. Turkey pepperoni, less fat. Apologies to anybody who's offended by turkey pepperoni, but when you're watching your salt and when you're watching your fat, you got to do stuff like that. So anyway, so the next day when I was there during rounds, and I told the doctor what my husband figured out. And they just kind of looked at me like, what? Like I was crazy. Which, you know, I don't deny that I am, but in this particular instance, we weren't. Anyway, so they all had a look at the chart, and they were like, oh my goodness. Well, the next morning, I called in, because I called in every morning. But I'm telling you, y'all, I need to host a weekend, and I'll just cook for everybody all weekend. That'll be fun. But so I called in to check on him the next week, or the next morning, and sure enough, he'd gotten sick. And so I said, oh, well, that's because he's never had you before. And the nurse was like, what? And I said, it's because he's never had you before. And she's like, I can't make that happen. I said, no, 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 no. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. Look, if you want to add Italian seasoning, oregano, whatever, go for it. I'm going simple today. I could add some garlic powder if I wanted to. I think I'll just, like I said, I think I'll just leave it simple. So, oh yeah, poor Mama Bear. She can't eat and we're making food. So, all right. We're going to do it says 425. I'm going to do 450 because I have this crazy oven. And it says, we're going to go 7 minutes. I think it'll be good by then. I am sweating. It's hot in here. So, anyway, but I was like, and I said to her, no, 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 not you, my son. My son doesn't like change. And so it's the change that made him do that, not you. I said, if you have him again tonight, he'll be fine. And she's like, oh, I thought you thought it was my fault. I was like, no, 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 not at all. So I wonder if others, after that, thought that. All right, I got to get this out of here. This needs to come out. And into the garbage. Done, done, done. Okay, now I have 2 cups. We use fat-free half and half in this house, so it's fat-free half and half. Yours will be thicker if you use regular or if you use heavy cream. If that's your thing, you could do that and make it very thick. But the fat-free half and half also only has like 25 calories per serving, which is pretty awesome. So we're gonna and I'm gonna taste this to see what kind of seasoning we need on it or in it, whatever. Taste the broth. And actually, what we're doing is we smashed some potatoes and then we put pizza seasonings on it. So smashed potato pizza. Yeah, people, you don't see a lot of that in the NICU because you got to be a special kind of person to work in the NICU. I always say it is the most amazing place you never want to have to visit. And you know what? I'm going to keep that and use it as my bowl. So, um, stirring in that. And then we're going to stir in the gnocchi. I got to look at the box to see how long that has to cook. I don't think it has to cook long, about 4 minutes, maybe less. But I am going to put the lid back on because it's not simmering anymore and we want it simmering. So, box. Cooking instructions. Till they float, just like regular ones. I don't know if they're going to float in this kind of a soup base though, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, so it was funny. Once we got that, we asked, we were asking for continuity of care is what they call it, and he got a certain number of he had like 4 or 5 different nurses that he had for the rest of the time, and he was out in about 5 days. But then, yeah, when that one charge nurse said that to me, it hurt my feelings a lot because I tried not to be that person. That was before we had Karens. I tried not to be a Karen. So, anyway, imagine my horror the first time I heard that word used that way. But anyway, close, you guys. We're so close. But turn that to a simmer. Got my salt and pepper in there. Got a couple minutes on the gnocchi. Okay, we could have roasted the potatoes first and then added this. They were done enough for me. So, oh well. They won't be as crunchy. But they're going to be, I think they're going to be amazing. Get my plate out, get ready for that. I'm going to use a paper plate because, you know, pizza, cheese. Sometimes paper is the best choice, in my opinion. Might as well get out too, because IT guy will eat some too. And then he'll probably tell me I should have roasted them. Be nice to me, IT guy. Anyway, so oh, I try my best not to be a Karen, Ruby. I really do. It doesn't get you much in life, does it? You know? As a matter of fact, I rarely even ask for. If I ask for a manager 9 times out of 10, it's because I want to say something nice, not because I want to say something mean. Once in high school, I was going to some high school dance. I think it was a prom, but instead of chicken cordon bleu, they had a steak cordon bleu. I was like, that sounds amazing. So I ordered that. It was a really nice restaurant. Well, I got this steak cordon bleu and it was terrible. Like I could barely cut it. And I unrolled it and the whole bottom of the steak was gristle. Nothing but gristle. So I knew I needed that cutting board one more time. Spinach. And it's big. It's not like, look at that. I don't want a big old piece of that. So I'm going to pull this guy back out. So I asked for a manager and I said, I looked at him and said, I'm fighting with my dinner and my dinner's winning. And he took one look at that steak and I was just a teenager, but he was mortified. He's like, I can't even believe they served that to you. He was so mad. He comped my meal, which was great for my date. He didn't have to pay for my meal. So they were really super nice about it. And I mean, we were prom kids. They knew that. But they were so nice. Which they didn't have to be. Unfortunately, that restaurant no longer exists. And it was one of my favorites. So we're just going to do like a rough chop on this so they're not too, I don't need them super tiny, but I don't need a big old honkin' leaf. So oh, that's funny. Yeah, you know what? I think everyone should have to, if anybody wants to be critical of food service, I think you need to work in food service. Because if you've never worked in it, you don't know how horrible people can be. And just how ridiculous people are sometimes. You know, something says no substitutions, and they're like, I want this instead of this. And you say, I'm sorry, there's no substitutions on that one. And they lose it. Like you have personally offended them in some way. And I was like, this is not my decision. I worked retail. I worked at a Woolworths back in the day. I worked for Hickory Farms for a little while. I worked at a pizza parlor, so I've worked food service. When I worked at Woolworths, I got to work the counter sometimes. So all of those things I got to do. And I think everyone should have to work with the public just a little bit. It will make you a better person, I hope. There we go. Those gnocchi look like they're done. Okay. This isn't a super thick soup. Like I said, if you wanted it thick, use half and half or heavy whipping cream, and that would be fine. Beautiful. The other thing I like is this is not a lot of cleanup. So hooray for that compared to some of the days. Oy. Okay. IT guy, you coming for a snack? So anybody else? Yeah, that steak was deadly, that's for sure. I was a bartender too. That was my favorite job ever, believe it or not. I had corporate jobs. I had all kinds of jobs that I've done. I've probably worked 10 different places. But bartending was hands down my favorite job. The reason I quit was because Mr. 513 and I started dating. And one thing I learned being a bartender is that being a bartender is not conducive to a long-term relationship. So the wise person in me decided that I need to get out of that atmosphere. So, because half the guys who came in that bar were divorced or getting divorced. So I was like, I don't want any part of that. Plus, I moved like 10 miles away. I didn't want to be driving down the highway at 3 o'clock in the morning because at that point, I know that everybody out there is either like me or they left at last call, and that's a little scary. So there's that. I don't know why I got out a big fork. Neither one of us uses one. Little fork. What else do you need? Pepper and salt. I'm not sure what's wrong with that kid. Okay, I need to get that spinach down in there to wilt that. You going to eat any of this? Well, you got to give it a taste test because they're going to want to know if you like it. So I'll just give you a small spoonful. Well, too late. Well, yeah, because this one's, I've got another one that's already dirty. So they were all dirty anyway. Okay. I know I will eat more of this. So that's true. That's true. And I didn't drink. So that's the funny part. I was a great bartender because I didn't drink. And people would buy me a drink and I'd be like, I don't drink, guys, but thanks anyway. So every once in a while I would have a drink. Even now, that when my doctor finds, they ask, do you drink alcohol when I go to the doctor? And I was like, about twice a year. Usually my husband and I have a drink on our anniversary and when we go out for New Year's Eve. Okay, so these are the two that have pepperoni on them. These are the cheese. Those are our smashed potatoes. Now, we were probably supposed to roast those first, so that might have made a difference in the texture. And then there's our beautiful soup. And I'm gonna put a little more Parmesan cheese on mine. I need to get myself like we have a place called Jungle Gems up near where P-Mart lives. But I need to get myself a nice piece of pecorino and just do it myself. So, yeah, I liked retail. I really didn't mind it. As a matter of fact, I actually got in trouble one time because a woman came in and she asked, I worked for Hickory Farms, and that was back in the day when a lot of people would get corporate gifts from us. And she came in and she said, do you have any sales coming up? Because I'm trying to make my money stretch to get more gifts for not just our clients, but also our vendors, so that our vendors will recommend us. And I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, the next week was Veterans Day, and we were going to have a Veterans Day sale. And when that lady left, my boss yelled at me, and she's like, you take the money in the hand. That woman will not come back. Um, oh, uh, and not only did that woman come back, but because I was honest with her and I told her the truth, she was going to spend half of her money with us and half of her money somewhere else. But because I was honest with her, she spent it all with us. I made over a $500 sale, and that's probably close to, it was probably 20 years ago or more. So that was a lot of money back then. So anyway, um, I understand P-Mart. Yeah, that's Jungle Gyms is a great place to go and it's fun, but I live right in the middle of both of them, so it's a half an hour to each one. But sometimes it's just worth it because they'll have what I want, especially if I'm making something like from another country. So, okay, so this is the pepperoni smashed potato. Okay, I like it. I think if you wanted something with like, if you like something with a crispy crust, I would say go ahead and roast your potatoes first and then put that on. But um, yeah, I'm not mad about this at all. This is so easy, you guys. I didn't even boil the water first. I just put it in the pot in the water and boiled it for about, I don't know, about 40 minutes. And then you saw how easy they were to smash, and then you could top it with whatever you wanted. Um, this is really good. Mm. I don't know that I'll eat all four of those. They're kind of rich, but oh, so good. Um, goodness gracious, that's so good. Um, well, he's trying it, P Mart. So, and he's writing down his thoughts right now. P Mart said if you didn't try him, he was going to make fun of you later. Well, one of the things that IT guy does is he always salts and peppers things more than I do. So, mm, I don't disagree, John or Christy. I'm sorry. Um, hey, I'm just going to call you Brew. Is that okay? Hey, Brew, welcome in. We are to the taste testing portion of our day. We made chicken and gnocchi soup. Um, honestly, I love the soup flavor. I do think I would like it if it was a little thicker. So I think what I might do for reheating it, I what? I have pepper. You want me to put more in it? You always think more pepper is the answer. The flavor is amazing. And I'm going to try to put together an ebook that has every soup I make this month. And then it'll be available on the community page. So all of the subscribers will be able to get a digital copy. So I'm hoping to have that done by the time we get done with the month. But, I can't do it until until I know what we're making. And you guys are helping me make that decision. So, and please remember to subscribe if you haven't. So that'll be one of the perks. You also get to vote. I'm putting up a poll every week. You've got until the end of the day tomorrow to continue voting for what soups you'd like me to make next week. And tomorrow's soup is going to be lasagna soup. We're going to make a salad and we're going to have gluten-free garlic bread with that. So come back for that. Um, as usual, he wants more pepper in the soup. Um, he feels like the potatoes need something. I don't think they do, unless you would want to like add more toppings. I love olives on a pizza, so I might put olives on it if I did it again. So Mm, super delicious. Oh, that's an idea. I can find out what their input is, and then I can make a post about that. But anyway, so I forget what the choices are. I should have written it down what the choices are for next week. So if uh, if you are subscribed, you can just go to the community tab and pick which one you want. I am not mad about any of this. Like I said, I would like the soup maybe a little bit thicker, which you could make a roux with gluten-free flour and put that in there, and that would thicken it up. Or maybe add some cream cheese to it. I wouldn't want to do like a sour cream or a yogurt because I wouldn't want that tanginess. You could also do like a cornstarch slurry, but the thing about cornstarch slurries is that the they're great for the day you make them, but they tend to break down. So like if you reheat it, it's not as good the next time. So um, I you guys not wrong. We could take some of those potatoes and mash them up, and that would help thicken the soup as well. So, but oh man, I like this a lot. I never got the chicken and gnocchi soup because by the time they had it at Olive Garden, I couldn't eat it. So, again, I will get these. Maybe that's the other thing I could do on the community page is make sure I put the individual recipes there, and then I'll have the book by the end of the month. So, anyway, lots to think about, lots to do, and we will again be back tomorrow. We're doing a lasagna soup. It is based off of a Weight Watchers recipe, but um, the Weight Watchers version uses a Hearts of Palm noodle, and we are not going to do that. So we will be using gluten-free pasta, but we will not be using the Hearts of Palm. Now, I've had it. It's good that way, but my family's not going to enjoy that. So I'm going to make it so my family will enjoy it. And that's pretty much it for today. So both of these are a hit in my book. I think they're both delicious. Yes, you could roast those potatoes before you put the toppings on them. Um, and I would add more toppings. That would be my only other thing if I make it again, would be to add more toppings and just kind of make it your own. It'll give it a lot more flavor. So anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. If you're new here, welcome. If you're one of my regulars, you know I love you guys. I think you're awesome. So remember to eat well, to be well. I love you guys, and I will see you back here same time tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody. Love y'all. Bye.